There is a version of you that would terrify your current self. Not because he is cruel, but because he does not negotiate. He does not ask how he feels. He does not flinch. Zen was built to kill the man you keep protecting. I want you to think about something uncomfortable right now. There's a version of you that exists somewhere, not in another universe, not in fantasy, but as a potential within you that operates completely differently than you do now. This version doesn't wake up and check how he feels before deciding what to do. He doesn't negotiate with discomfort. He doesn't need motivation or inspiration or the perfect conditions. He just acts, cleanly, decisively, without internal debate. And if your current self met that version, you'd be disturbed. Not because he's harsh or cruel or violent, but because he's unified in a way you're not. Solid where you're fragmented. Certain where you're confused. Unmovable where you're constantly swaying. That version of you is what Zen is designed to create. And to create him, the current version, the one who negotiates, who hesitates, who constantly asks for permission from his own feelings, has to die. Not metaphorically, not gradually. Zen doesn't believe in improvement. It believes in replacement. Today, I'm going to tell you why Zen destroys weak identity. Not to make you feel bad. Not to criticize you. But to show you exactly what ancient warriors like Miyamoto Musashi understood about transformation that modern culture has completely forgotten. The truth is brutal but liberating. You cannot become strong by adding strength to weakness. You have to kill the weakness entirely and build something new in its place. This is why Zen was built. This is what made Musashi untouchable. And this is what can transform you from someone who constantly struggles with themselves into someone who simply acts. But first, you have to be willing to let the weak version die. He wakes up late again. The phone is already warm in his hand, thumb scrolling without intention. He knows what he should do today. He always knows. Train, work, study, build. But knowing has never saved him. Instead, he bargains. I'll start after breakfast. I'll do it when I feel ready. Tomorrow I'll be more disciplined. And tomorrow arrives carrying the same weakness. He is not stupid. He is not lazy. He is fragmented, pulled apart by moods, ruled by preference, led by emotion instead of identity. Modern culture tells him this is normal. Ancient philosophy would say something harsher. A man without discipline is not free. He is many men arguing inside one body. Zen never asked how he felt about this. Zen simply observed it and prepared to destroy it. Let me describe someone. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone you know. This person has goals. Real goals. They want to be better, stronger, more disciplined, more accomplished. They genuinely want to change. And every night they go to bed with good intentions. Tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow they'll follow through. Tomorrow they'll be the person they know they should be. But morning comes, and something happens. Something so subtle they barely notice it anymore. The alarm goes off. And instead of becoming the person they said they'd be, they become the person they've always been. They hit snooze. They reach for their phone. They scroll mindlessly while their intentions evaporate. By the time they actually get out of bed, they're already negotiating, already bargaining with themselves, already finding reasons why today doesn't have to be the day they change. I'm tired. I didn't sleep well. I'll start after I have coffee. Monday is a better day to begin anyway. Each excuse sounds reasonable in isolation, but string them together over months and years, and you see the pattern. This person is divided. There's the person they say they want to be, and there's the person they actually are. And those two people are constantly at war, with the actual person winning every single time. Modern culture looks at this and says, you need more motivation. You need to find your why. You need to love yourself more. You need better habits. Zen looks at this and says something completely different. Something harsher. Something more accurate. You need to die. Not physically, but the identity you're clinging to, the one that negotiates, that hesitates, that needs comfort, that requires perfect conditions, that identity needs to be destroyed. Completely. Utterly. With no mercy. Because you can't become a disciplined person by adding discipline to an undisciplined identity. The undisciplined identity will always sabotage it. It will always find a way to return to what's comfortable. You have to kill that identity entirely and replace it with something new. Something that doesn't negotiate. Something that doesn't ask how it feels. Something that simply acts. This is what Zen was built to do. Not to make you a better version of yourself, but to destroy the current version and forge something entirely different in its place. And the reason modern people struggle so much with discipline isn't because they're lazy or weak or unmotivated. It's because they're trying to improve without being willing to die first. They want transformation without death, growth without loss, a new identity without killing the old one. And Zen says, that's impossible. The old must die completely, or the new can never truly be born. Zen did not emerge to make people peaceful. That is a modern misunderstanding. Zen was forged in monasteries where hesitation meant death, where clarity was survival, where identity had to be sharper than fear. The sword masters of old Japan understood something modern men resist. You do not rise to your intentions. You fall to your training. Musashi lived by this law. He slept on the ground, owned almost nothing, traveled without comfort, not because he hated pleasure, but because pleasure made the self soft. Zen stripped life down to what could not be taken away. No motivation, no inspiration, no emotional hype, only action. Zen asked a single brutal question. Who are you when preference is removed? That question alone has broken millions. Zen emerged in a world of violence, warfare, and life-and-death duels. It was developed by warriors who needed something more reliable than emotion, more stable than motivation, more certain than confidence. They needed an identity that couldn't be shaken, a mind that couldn't be moved, a self that didn't collapse under pressure. They discovered something profound. You can't build that kind of identity by adding to what you already are. You have to strip away everything that makes you weak until only the unbreakable core remains. This is why Zen practice was so harsh. Why monks lived with almost nothing. Why they woke before dawn, sat in freezing halls, ate plain food, owned no possessions, and embraced discomfort as daily practice. Not because suffering was virtuous, but because comfort creates weakness. Preference creates fragility. Choice creates hesitation. Every option creates a decision point. Every decision point is a place where weakness can enter. So Zen removed them all. No options, no preferences, no negotiations, just action. Musashi embodied this completely. Everything in his life was designed around a single question. Does this make me weaker or stronger? If something created dependency, attachment, or softness, he eliminated it without hesitation. Zen's approach is not about adding habits. It is about removing everything that makes you negotiable. Modern psychology calls this ego death. Zen caused it deliberately, systematically, completely. Who are you when preference is removed? When comfort is unavailable? When negotiation is impossible? Most people discover there is nothing solid underneath. Just habits, moods, and excuses. That is the weak self. That is what Zen destroys. The moment you try to live with discipline, resistance appears. Your body rebels. Your mind invents reasons. Your emotions demand comfort. Neuroscience calls this homeostasis. Zen called it attachment. Attachment to ease. Attachment to the identity you know. Attachment to being the same tomorrow. Musashi fought hesitation before he fought opponents. Every delay trains weakness. Every act of obedience to discomfort reshapes identity. Zen interprets this without mercy. You are not tired, you are untrained. You are not unmotivated, you are undisciplined. Your identity fights for survival. It disguises itself as compassion, as rest, as reason. Zen sees through it. Most self-care is identity protection. Until you see that weakness keeps winning. Musashi acted anyway, not to punish himself but to teach his nervous system new laws. Over time, resistance weakened. The war ended not because impulses disappeared, but because they lost authority. Zen offers one path. Do the thing. Fully. Without commentary. No emotional weather report. Choice is where weakness hides. Remove choice and conflict disappears. True freedom is not having options. It is not needing them. Musashi did not decide daily. He had decided once. Training was not something he did. It was who he was. Identity-based action outperforms motivation every time. Zen knew this centuries ago. Zen does not believe in balance. Balance is negotiated. Zen is absolute. Miss one day and the mind remembers softness. Miss twice and identity fractures. No gaps. Ever. Not because each act matters, but because the pattern does. Gaps teach the brain that commitment is conditional. Consistency forges unbreakable identity. Musashi trained sick, bored, and alone, not to be extreme but to remove exceptions. Ancient warriors pre-decided. Ritual before battle. Codes before emotion. Zen prepares before weakness arrives. When tired, move. When bored, train. When tempted, do nothing. This is identity architecture. Over time, something shifts. The voice disappears. The negotiator dies quietly. Discipline is no longer effort. It is existence. Fear arises, but it has no vote. Doubt appears, but it is irrelevant. Zen does not improve you. Zen replaces you. The divided self dies. Unity remains. Action remains. And that is what made Musashi untouchable. If this philosophy resonates with you, subscribe for more lessons from Musashi and the path of Zen here on Iron Silence.